Hello, Threshold staffer. I'm Alvin, the art design editor, and today, in this playlist, we will be learning about basic shape creation for a spread. I have open the 2015 Threshold template right here in InDesign, which you should also have open to follow along with my amazing teaching skills. What we will learn in this set of videos is how to create shapes for the backgrounds of your spreads. We will not, for example, go into text and formatting text, and we will not go into placing images or artwork that has been submitted. Those are for different times. What we will learn, however, are the basic tools here, like the line tool, which is that, the pen tool, the pencil tool, and the rectangular / whatever other tools are in that drop-down menu. We will also learn a little bit about gradients, the stroke window, align, and pathfinder. Okay, great. Okay, so the first video is going to be on creating basic shapes in your InDesign file. What I have selected now is the rectangle tool over here. In order to create a rectangle, click on one corner and then drag, and you have created a rectangle. You can use the select mouse to manipulate your rectangle. You can change its shape, you can rotate it, or you can squeeze it down or up, or however you want. Specific rotations include 45-degree increments, which you can do by holding Shift while rotating, like we have here. It's 90 degrees, but it's a square, so it's kind of hard to tell. So, like this, exactly 90 degrees. Other manipulations you can do on this rectangle can include changing the color with the color menu, which you can access by double-clicking the box here. Another thing you can do to rectangles is change their stroke, which is this box. You can switch between these two boxes by clicking on them. When you are on this box, you simply select a color, and then go into the top menu to change how thick it is. What you can see is that when I increase this number, the outline gets bigger, and when I decrease it, the outline gets smaller. Common errors include trying to change the inside color by changing the stroke color, which is wrong. Okay, you just finished creating rectangles, but let's say you want to make rounder shapes in InDesign. First, go into your rectangle tool and click and hold instead of just clicking. Then, select the ellipse tool. You can create ellipses much in the same way you can create rectangles, just by clicking and dragging. But let's say you want to make a circle. All you have to do is hold Shift while you click and drag. Make sure not to let go of Shift at any time during the process. Let's say you want to make a circle and you want to position its center in a specific place, and you don't feel like fiddling around by trying to eyeball how big you want the circle to be and whatever, and you don't feel like moving it around because you have a lot of other complicated stuff on the page. What you can do then is hold Alt so that when you create any ellipse, it starts from the center. In order to create a circle, all you have to do then is hold the Shift key along with the Alt key, and then you will have a circle that only changes in radius depending on how far out you drag your mouse. Make sure not to let go of the Shift or Alt keys during this process, or else you will cry. Sorry, I just zoomed out very far there. Here we have a circle. Let's say you want to change the color of the circle. Double-click on this box here, not this box, and go into the color menu to change it to whatever color you want. Let's say we have a blue. Now, let's say we want to change the outline of the circle. Double-click on this box and change the color of this. A common mistake that many newbies make is that they want to change the inside, but they keep changing the color of the outside, and they're just like, what the heck is happening? Another thing that you might want to do is change the thickness of the outline. Well, all you have to do is navigate to the top menu here and up the size. Make it 60. Wow, look at that. It's very thick. Good job. You've made a circle. Okay, so now we know how to make rectangles and round shapes. Now let's learn how to make pentagons or triangles or anything above 4 sides that is not a circle, and triangles. What we have here, much in the same way we access the ellipse tool, we can access the polygon tool. Select the polygon tool and click and drag. The default is a hexagon. Wow, cool. But let's say you want to make a triangle. Simply click, just tap click, and this menu will show up. It gives you certain options for polygon width, polygon height, the number of sides, and the star inset. The polygon width and the polygon height do not matter, unless if you really want to be fiddly and you have like very specific mathematical geometric equations that you want to use everywhere on your spread. The main important setting is the number of sides. You said you want to make a triangle, so let's turn down the number of sides to 3. Whoops. 3 sides. A triangle. Wow. You can manipulate this triangle much in the same way you can manipulate other objects. See the rectangle video for more specific commentary on my use of the black mouse tool. And you can change the inner color and the outer color the same way you can change the inner and outer stroke color of the other 2 tools in the rectangle, ellipse, polygon menu. There, you've learned how to make any polygon. Have fun. Okay, so you know how to make any general ellipse, triangle, polygon, any general, oh my goodness, any general circle, and any general rectangle. Now let's say you want to make a complicated shape. Well, that is easy. Let's say you want to make this weird rounded gnome house hat thing. After a bit of fiddling with the triangle and the whatever, you can select both of the things and combine them into one object using the Pathfinder menu. Normally, the Pathfinder menu will not be on your right toolbar, so what you have to do is go into Window, Object and Layout, Pathfinder, and access the Pathfinder menu. Select both of the objects, and then click on Add, which combines the 2 shapes into one large shape. Now, let's say you want to make circle eyeballs. Well, since you know how to make circles, this is an easy task, hopefully. Click on a circle, click on the big shape, and then go into Subtract, which then subtracts the circle from the large gnome object. Subtract. Wow. Then, let's say, actually I would only like half of the gnome because the other half cuts into my word space. Well, there are 2 ways to do that. You can either make a large polygon like a rectangle and just subtract that large polygon, or you can overlap a large rectangle onto the part that you want to keep and then use your intersect tool, which intersects both of the polygons and then keeps the section that overlap both, like so. Then you have the exclude tool, which does basically the same thing, but with exclusion instead. Before, after. Then you have the third and last tool, which is subtract from back. Don't worry about it. That covers Pathfinder Part 1. There will be more parts for Pathfinder in later videos. Welcome back to the InDesign tutorial series on shape making for threshold spreads. You will now go into the pencil tool, because we have finished off the shape making tools, which are the rectangle, the ellipse, and the polygon. The pencil tool works just by clicking and dragging. And then you go, oh wait, why is it not making lines? Well, that is easy. You go down here and you switch, and you can switch between lines and fill. You can also do both, and then just switch the colors, whichever way works for you. You can make it thicker on the top as per the norm, and you can change it back to having nothing by clicking on this. There. That is how you make pencil lines. You can join two pencil lines together with the Pathfinder tool. We previously went over these, but now we will go into path manipulation. Simply click on this to join the paths together. Click on it multiple times to join the paths if there are multiple open ends. Then you have created a shape. You can fill it, and you can have fun. You can join two paths together. You can use the Pathfinder once again to do subtractions. That is how you use the pencil tool. Be advised that it is kind of hard to use the pencil tool when you have just a mouse. Okay, now that you know how to use the pencil tool, let's go on to the line tool. Much like the pencil tool, it does kind of weird things if you just go into using the line immediately. So, select all of your lines, do the switching thing to get the stroke. Then make it bigger so you can see, and now you have a bunch of lines. You can join them together, you can turn it into fill or stroke, do both at the same time if you want, and it looks cool. Good job. Now you know how to use lines. Now, let's go into the pen tool. The pen tool works on a concept known as Bezier curves. This is my TTF presentation. You do not have to worry about the math behind it, but this is basically how they're made, and they're pretty cool. Simply clicking will create a node. Clicking on another place will create a second node, and so on and so forth. You can make pretty complicated straight-edged shapes with this, so please play around with that. You can also make rounded shapes with the pen tool. For example, let's say I want to make a weird round circle thing. I can click and drag to create these two small circular nodes, and then I can click another place, drag again, create a curve. You can then close off the shape, and click and drag a third time to finish off a mildly regular looking oval. This oval is a shape and can be manipulated with the Pathfinder. You can squeeze it around, you can change the color, change the outline, you can make the outline thicker, and so on and so forth. Of course, this comes with a caveat. Do not just spaz around with the pen tool and then call your spread done. That is what I like to call lazy design, and I do not tolerate lazy design in Threshold. This is not a graphical element. It is not aesthetically pleasing. Please do not try and use this as your repeating element on the spread, because then I will get very angry at you. Thank you. That is the pen tool. Let's say you're tired of making blocky colors everywhere and you want a smooth blend of colors. Well, with any general shape, I made this shape using the pen tool, you can make a cool gradient by going into this menu here called gradient. Normally the gradient menu would not be there on your right toolbar, so go into Window, Color, Gradient to access the gradient window. Simply click on this box to implement a gradient. Now, you see the error here? I've put the gradient into the stroke menu and not the fill color. So all I have to do is swap them and then probably turn off stroke because I don't care about stroke right now. Now I have a black and white gradient, but what if I want a more colorful one? Easy. I go into this drop down menu, click and drag colors into the window just to create a gradient. Click and drag these around to manipulate where the colors are at their brightest, and I can click and drag off of the menu to put the unwanted colors out of the gradient. I can reverse the two colors if I wish. I can change the blending point. Very nice. I can also change if the gradient is linear or radial. Radial means a blend from the center, and linear is a linear gradient. Intuitive stuff. Okay, now you know how to create gradients, now you know how to create things with the pen tool, you know how to make curvy lines with either the pencil tool or just the pen tool. But let's say you want your curvy lines to look complicated and have fancy markings on their inside. Let's use this line as an example. I want this line to be super thick, but also have weird patterns on the inside. That is an easy fix. Let me just move it to the center. I can access it with the stroke menu up here. The stroke menu normally is not available on the right toolbar, so go into Window. When you have the stroke menu open, you'll see you can change the thickness, the miter limit, which doesn't really matter, the alignment of the stroke, which is very, very tiny and fiddly, the type of stroke, you can make it dashed, make it different kind of dash, you can make it a wavy line, you can make it thick, thin, you can make it a solid line, make dots, you can have it so that it caps in a bar and ends in an arrow, all kinds of things. You can also do like a triple and then go into gap color and make the gap a different color. You can do all sorts of things. If you have a corner, the miter limit gets affected and you can have sharp corners or rounded corners or beveled corners, what they're called, have rounded ends. You can have fun with the strokes menu. Okay, now you know how to make complicated lines. Hey, welcome to the last episode of the shape making tutorial. Today we will learn how to use the align window. Much like every other useful thing in InDesign, the align window isn't instantaneously there for you. So you have to go into Window, Object and Layout, Align, in order for it to show up. The align tool is to help you align things. Do not try to eyeball where the centers go or where this goes, because if you try to get anything like this, you will screw it up. You can align from the center, the left, the right. You can align tops, you can align middles and bottoms. You can also distribute objects. Let's say you have these 3 rectangles and you want the spaces in between to be the same.
Okay, align them all to the right, or the left, or the middle, and then distribute the spacing all the way back down here. Just click on that, and then you'll have it distributed. Let's say you want it to distribute left to right, and not top to bottom. Well, then you do this one, and now they're distributed. This is how you get evenly spaced objects in InDesign. Do not eyeball it, because I will tell. Thank you.